Hey YouTube, welcome back to another Classics Are Better. I'm Travis, and today we're giving my old Silverado some love. Specifically, the AC belt tensioner is making a little noise when it's running, so I'm going to show you guys how to replace the tensioner, how to replace the AC serpentine belt, and the main serpentine belt for the truck. It's pretty much the same thing for any kind of LS, 4.8, 5.3, 6.0. This one does happen to be a 6.0 because it's a Silverado Max, but they are all about the same thing, y'all, and I will show you step by step how to do it. Let's get after it. Before you can get your AC belt off, you have to get your main serpentine belt off. So let me show you guys right here. So this is your main serpentine belt. It's going to be on your pulleys or whatnot, hooked to your alternator and water pump and everything else. This is your tensioner right here, or at least for your main belt. If you cannot see this, now I just have a cold air intake right here. If you have the old school giant stock intake, you may need to just take it apart right here. So that's a flathead screwdriver. And then right here on the end of this thing, and then you can just remove this section and leave your air box right here, and then this will be open for you, so you can use those two clamps if you need to take yours off. So just a quick tip, generally right here on your truck and or right over here, you're gonna have a little diagram of the belt and the pulley and the way that it should be routed. You can see I've lost mine over time, so make sure before you get your belt off that you either take a picture of it, remember it, and or draw a picture even if you need to, because you're going to want to route it the exact same way when you put it back together. So a tensioner works exactly as the name says. It just keeps tension on the belt. You're going to take a 15mm socket, put it right on here, and then just move it to the right, and then that'll give you enough slack to get the belt off. Alright, so I got the main belt out. Two things real quick. You can see looking closer that it's all cracked and dry rotted, so it's good I'm switching this out. This thing could have snapped under load at any time. And then also keep your belt, because you're going to want to hold it up to your new one just to make sure that you got approximately the right size. Here's an up-close view of your upper tensioner. So if you needed to replace this for any reason, it is just three 15mm bolts. One here on this side, and one at the bottom. When you pull it off, you'll notice that one of the bolts is shorter. That is the bottom bolt for when you're reinstalling everything. Torque it all down to 37 foot-pounds, and you're good to go. All right, so let's check out under the truck. And most of you guys will have a plastic guard right here. It's going to be held on by four 15mm bolts. You're going to want to go ahead and zip that off. Your AC belt is the rear belt. That's why you got to take the main serpentine belt off first. You can see right here in the lower AC tensioner that it's got a square hole in the middle, so that is for a 3/8 extension on a socket. You'll just put it right in there, crank it to the right, and that will give you some slack, and then you can remove the belt from the main pulley and the AC compressor there. AC belt is considerably smaller than the main belt here, but looking closer on it, it has a bunch of cracking and dry rot as well, so it's a good thing I'm going to go ahead and change them both out at the same time. So for replacement, I'm going to use this Duralast kit. It's a Duralast Serpentine belt tensioner kit, BK3100. So I'm going to go ahead and get this on there, and I'll put a link to this thing down in the video description. So I've got my new tensioner. Just get my bolts on either side, zip it up where the old one was. So I got the AC belt and the new tensioner on there. Everything's set up. Make sure the grooves are face down towards the pulley, but everything's on and tight and in the correct channel. So now is when you would put your 4 bolts back in your engine guard and put that plate back up if you have one of those. After that, time to get after putting a new main belt on. Alright, so we're going to go with the Duralast Poly V belt 930 K6. just to replace our main belt on the truck or whatever. I'll have a link to this down below. First things first, make sure it matches with the old one here pretty close, and then get it on the truck. Seems like we're good. All right, so it's time to get this new belt on here. So refer back to either your sticker here or whatnot that has the belt diagram for you, one that you wrote down, your picture, or if you're lucky like me, my parts actually came with a diagram. This is good for a 4.8, 5.3, and a 6.0. This happens to be a 6.0, but again, it's the same on the other ones if you have this sort of arrangement with your accessories. So again, we just replaced this tensioner in this belt right here. So now we are going to pull this tensioner over to the side, and we are going to loosely put our belt in here and get it looped over, and then slowly increase tension on it. Make sure everything is aligned the correct way. We should be good to go. So, got it all routed back through here on all the pulleys and the power steering, alternator, all that kind of good stuff. So when you're doing this, just make sure that your belt can move a little bit, but that it still has quite a bit of tension on it. Also make sure everything is lined up and not over the edges of something. You want it all to just run nice and smooth. So now I'm going to get my cold air intake reattached to the throttle body. So reattach yours or your stock intake, whichever way you had. Get it all zipped back up. Start it up, and you should be good to rock and roll. Now if you hear any kind of squeaking or anything like that, that means that your belt is too loose and it's slipping somewhere. So look at one of your tensioners, make sure everything's screwed in nice and tight, but it should be good to go for you, my friends. Everything seems to be running nice and smooth without any big issues. Alright y'all, so that's going to do it for this episode of Classics Are Better. Hopefully you guys got some sort of benefit or help out of this. If you did, please consider leaving me a like or subscribing. It totally helps out a little channel like mine. But other than that, get out there, get wrenching y'all. Until the next time, have a good one.